Hey folks, my name is Mo Amir and this is VANCOLOUR, British Columbia's bona fide culture and politics TV talk show. Tonight, let's focus on our province's second most populous city, Surrey, BC. Let's talk healthcare, policing, and the relationships between BC municipalities and the provincial government. And who better to discuss these issues affecting Surrey than the woman at the center of it all, the former BC Minister of State for Mental Health and Addictions. In 2018, she was elected to Surrey City Council under the Safe Surrey Coalition, led by then Mayor Doug McCallum. In 2019, she left Safe Surrey, and just over a year ago, in 2022, she was elected as the Mayor of Surrey, representing Surrey Connect. She is Mayor Brenda Locke. Mayor Locke, what an honor.
Thank you. It's great to be with you, Mo.
Thanks for being here. First things first, in 2018, you successfully ran for Surrey City Council with the platform to bring in a municipal regional police force, or municipal police force, which became the Surrey Police Service. In 2022, last year, you successfully ran for the mayor of Surrey to do the exact opposite, which was to keep the RCMP and stop the transition to the Surrey Police Service. So clearly a lot happened in those 4 years, but what was your reasoning to have the position that you have today that Surrey must keep the RCMP and stop the transition to the Surrey Police Service?
You know, everybody wants a simple answer to a very, very complicated situation, so I thank you for that. But I will say this. No good plan can be done without first doing all the foundation things. They're doing those things like feasibility studies, cost-benefit analysis, impact studies, and we are now on the road to doing that. Of course, the previous council refused to do that. They didn't even do Indigenous relations and Indigenous consultation with the local land base or urban Indigenous populations in Surrey. They did none of that. We have built, or they have attempted to build, this on a bed of sand. There is no doubt about that. And the more and more I get into it, the more and more I am absolutely convinced this is not the way to go for Surrey. And so that is why it's very clear to me, very clear to me.
When you call it a bed of sand and basically bringing in this municipal police force, the Surrey Police Service, is this all about the cost? Because I believe that you've estimated that it's going to cost an additional 450 or 460 million over 10 years. The province is saying it's going to cost 150 million over 5 years. But effectively, is the key issue the cost of transitioning to a municipal police service?
Well, it is the cost. There's no doubt about it. But there's other things too. The Surrey Police Service, when they did have a friendly mayor to them, could not get it done. They could not get their benchmarks, the ones that they set for themselves. So they said they would be fully operational. So the POJ, the Police of Jurisdiction, they said they would be that by April the 1st, 2021. Never happened, as we all know.
Sure.
We have never seen them reach their benchmarks. I think there's been a lot of change in the world since that decision was made, not the least of which was COVID, which, you know, just took a couple of years out of everybody's life and moving forward. But there's been many other things along the way that haven't been factored in. So it's not just about the money. It is also about public safety. They haven't demonstrated to me that they have the capacity to do it. The board, of which I chair, by the way, full disclosure on that, has not demonstrated to me or to City Council, quite obviously, that they have the capability, the capacity, and the KSAs, the knowledge to do it.
So let me ask you a simple question, which I'm sure will have a complicated answer as well. Let's say hypothetically, and I know this is not the case, but let's say hypothetically the province said, okay, over 10 years, we will give you $464 million or whatever the additional cost is to transition to the Surrey Police Service. Would it still be a no for you? Would you still want to keep the RCMP?
You know, Mo, the short answer is yes, I would. And
you would
want to keep the RCMP, and I'm going to tell you why.
So it is more than cost.
It's more than cost, much more than cost. And when we estimated that $464 million, that did not include capital investment.
Right.
It did not include the ability to hire, and you can ask anybody in policing, and you can ask, the city of Vancouver, city of New West that have muni police departments. Hiring police frontline officers is very, very challenging. We're seeing signing bonuses of $30 million in Ontario for frontline. We're talking frontline constables. So it's very challenging to hire. People don't want to be police officers in 2023, and I don't see that changing moving forward. So I think there's lots of different reasons why this is going to be an immense challenge. But I come back to the Surrey RCMP are Surrey's police department.
Right.
People in Surrey wanted to keep them. Council want to keep the RCMP. We were voted in to keep the RCMP, and I will honor as much as I can everything that the voter wanted me to do. And I can tell you, when I'm in Surrey, when I'm at events, and I'm at a lot of them, it's always keep going, Madam Mayor.
The province of British Columbia does not want to keep the Surrey RCMP. I mean,
Right.
they enacted Bill 36. They're basically saying that any legal action you bring, will kind of be a waste of taxpayer money. Whether you were right or not, whether you're right or wrong, it just seems like this has been imposed on you. So why keep fighting this when clearly the province has done everything possible to legally bind you to continue the transition to the Surrey Police Service?
Because they're wrong.
They're wrong.
They're wrong. Flat out. So if we go back to
But
July
wouldn't you be
19th,
in the breach of law if you didn't continue on with this now that they've passed this legislation?
well, we're in court to make that determination. That's
Okay.
not my determination anymore. It's before the courts, as everybody knows. So I will be very treading softly on what I'm going to say. But, I think moving forward, if we really take a hard look at it, when Minister Farnworth, the Solicitor General, came out on July the 19th and said, "Thou shall," he was actually absolutely incorrect. Now, if he had been correct, he wouldn't need to pass this legislation 2 months later.
Right. But what I'm saying is setting all of that aside, like even if you are in the right here, it seems like with this passing of Bill 36, you are now obligated to continue this on. And there's a lot of excess cost in having two police services basically running Surrey at the same time. And then also this legal matter, how much that will cost. So why keep fighting this when clearly they might have won?
Well, the costs aren't going to change just if we back off anyway, because the costs are there because they can't hire police officers. So we still have the POJ, the police of jurisdiction, is still the RCMP, regardless of the decision right now.
Okay.
But this is in front of the courts. If the Solgen had said to me in December, no way, you're doing this, you're staying the course, he didn't say that, and neither did the Premier. He said to me at that time, and everybody remembers because it's on record everywhere, he said to me, it is a municipal decision. Well, we made our decision, not once, not twice, probably three times.
So does the conclusion happen after this legal proceeding?
Well, we've got a petition before the courts, and we'll see where that all comes to. And just to be really clear, that petition is on two fronts. It's on the Police Act. It's also on the municipal charter, and so it's not as defined. Again, nothing is as simple as people may want it to be.
Sure. I got to ask you about some comments you made back in June. You called the Solicitor General, the Minister of Public Safety, you called him a bully. You said that he was engaging in misogyny. What exactly did he do to warrant those very harsh labels?
Well, I think, it's pretty obvious. This minister has never, ever picked up the phone and called me. We haven't had, we haven't had any meetings over this right from the get-go. It's all been letters and, basically.
At all?
No, we haven't had any sit down. Let's put crayons on the table and write this thing out. Never.
Have you tried to meet with him?
I've tried several times to meet with him. I have written them, but both him and to be fair, the Premier have made it their ploy to do all this negotiation in the media. They don't seem to want to have a face-to-face with me. Now, would that have happened with the previous mayor? In fact, it did not. In fact, it did not. So, what else am I to think? Give me a call. I mean, he knew.
It can't just be an ideological difference. You think it is based and rooted in sexism?
Well, I don't know, but I know he wouldn't have done it to the former mayor who was a male. So I can't read his mind. I just know how I feel, and I can feel how I feel. But I can tell you that the Solicitor General knew full well that was the platform I ran on. He knew that was what Surrey wanted. He knew that there were flags on cars and signs on people's lawns to keep the RCMP. And he knew that the previous premier called the whole thing that he had been a part of a hornet's nest. So he knew that's what Mr. Horrigan called it. So he knew when I came in what I was coming in to do, and he never, ever contradicted it. I have so many letters I've sent to him, and I have letters back from him in the very beginning that always said, this is the city's decision, and the city made their decision.
Now, I heard a rumor that this past weekend, I believe it was Friday night, the premier was booed out of an event in Surrey that you were also attending, or maybe perhaps even hosting. First of all, is that true? And then secondly, do you think that the province understands the political ramifications of the stance that they've taken?
So I had a mayor's night of giving. It was for the firefighters, and it was a very large event, and the premier came, and there were a lot of people in that room that didn't appreciate his stand on policing. And I would say you're absolutely correct in the assumption there is not a good warm fuzzy for the way that this government, that both the Premier and the Solicitor General are foisting this on the residents of Surrey. They know the cost. And I will make it crystal clear to the residents as we move forward that this is the province's decision. They will wear it. I will make sure of that. And they will know the cost. This cost will be in 16-point red on their tax form, saying the Surrey Police Service, provincial government's Surrey Police Service is going to cost you this much money.
What are the lessons for other BC municipalities? There's only one other municipality that is bigger than Surrey, but for everyone else, what does this say about the relationships between municipalities and the provincial government?
Well, I think it's starting. Cities are starting to understand it. This has a big impact on anybody with a municipal police force, and we've heard that recently from New West. There is going to be costs. This is going to, and that's why the impact study was so important. It's going to impact anybody with a municipal force, and it's really going to impact all the other RCMP jurisdictions. So small town BC and larger towns like Burnaby and Richmond, it's called Divid Min, is going to go way up, and they're going to be paying more. So, thank you very much. Residents of Richmond, residents of Williams Lake, you're going to get more costs because of this decision by the Solicitor General.
And I think this is why what's happening in Surrey is so important for the rest of the province. Mayor Locke, Brenda, what a pleasure, what an honor. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Folks, she is certainly a force to be reckoned with, the Mayor of Surrey, Brenda Locke. Now, after some business, despite being the second largest BC city in terms of population, has healthcare in Surrey been chronically underfunded? Dr. Randeep Gill says he's done with the double standards, and he's here to talk about it up next.